Hi guys, it's Alec here. Interesting concept, turning data into strategy. So your own data can actually be a great platform for you to strategize with, and especially when you're doing budgets and forecasts. Okay, so there are many things in your business that you cannot necessarily control, like actual numbers. You know, is your customer going to say yes to that quotation, etc., etc. But what thing you can actually control and have a great grip of that really helps you to manage well is when you budget and you forecast. Now, it works so much better if you have good grip of your own actual data, your own historical actual results, and use that then to ultimately forecast more efficiently and more scientifically what's going to happen into the future. Okay, so in the PASTEL environment, that has been quite difficult to actually use the budgeting function, and I've actually seen many of our customers use either not budgeting or separately, or secondly using a spreadsheet environment to budget, which is quite difficult, and it's dead because when you use spreadsheets you ultimately always have to update, and it sits completely separate now in this separate environment from your database. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is actually how we've integrated that, and we're now enabling people that use PASTEL Partner Express or Sage 50 Cloud to now go and just use their own data sets, their actual numbers, and then budget and also bring it into PASTEL. So first what I'm going to do, I'm going to come into this demo database, and I'm going to show you guys firstly that this demo database, for instance, now is empty. Okay, so it doesn't have any numbers in here, in the budget at least. Sorry, this is an empty budget. So I'm going to make a quick printout here, next, and I'm going to say, well, just give me this year's budget as a printout, and you'll see here it's an empty budget. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to show you guys firstly how does PASTEL ask us to update it. If I want to update, for instance, the first 10 accounts, I'll go, well, I want to update the current year, for instance, and let's just go the first 10 accounts, and you'll see it actually distributes here for you, asks you what's distribution of your actual budget numbers. You can say, well, I can change this, by the way, or just distribute evenly. There are 13 periods because PASTEL allows you to have up to 13 periods, which is the first period of the next year, so that when you are rolling over year end, you don't have to quickly finish everything off. You actually have one period open the next year, so you can still do your processing and finish your previous year. Okay, so here, for instance, is a little budget environment, but it's very slow. You'll see actually it says, well, this is what you can do. You can like type in your, 10,000 Rand. It gives you a C there for credit. You can even change that to debit. You can say D, or you can say C, but it's slow. Or you can say, no, you know what, it's a million there, and it'll distribute it, or that's 100,000, distributed evenly across all of these months. But I mean, just for argument's sake, let's say, for instance, I wanted to increase this 149,000 with 10%. It's a very calculation-based environment. I have to do it with a calculator. And even if you do an export-import, it's very techy doing it in the PASTEL space, the PASTEL tools that are available. So what I want to show you is actually, this is very important, guys. It is important. So we've developed a tool called MyBudgets, which actually takes any PASTEL database. I'm just gonna pop into that now. I'm gonna open it. Okay, and just open the demo database. There we go, and go into my budgets, and now I'm going to open it. Okay, yes, okay, I'm going to clean out this one because I actually want to create a new one. Okay, here we go. So it's opened it for me. Now it says, okay, here's the actual database. This is the budgets that's on this WOW database that I've just showed you guys. Firstly, it shows you that it's empty. It's just an empty app. Now I say, well, go and pull for me the information. Now it's going to pull information, budgets, and it's going to pull the actual numbers for me on the on your database that it's pointing to. Okay, so now it runs a while. It's going to say to me, do you want to just, yes, I want to. Now there we go. There's actually the numbers that it's pulled through. So I just want to go and update, for instance, the first 10 rows. So it's actually done a few things for me. Firstly, it's shown me, well, here's my current databases on the left, which are now in PASTEL. You can see it's empty. We just saw that in PASTEL as well. We saw it's empty, and the actual next year budget is also empty. If I go and draw it out from here, you can actually draw it out. You can do the same thing I did in the beginning. Say, give me my budget, and just do a printout for me. That's the last option. There we go. next, and show me next year's budget. There we go, and you'll see it's also empty. Okay. Anyway, so now we want to update. Do we want to say, well, this is the actual numbers? So just to the right here, it actually tells me, well, here are my actual numbers for the prior financial year and what actuals for the current year. So we are now currently in July, and you'll see that actually from August, this is an empty database. So it means that these are actual numbers that have gone through the database. By the way, this is underpinned by real data, real transactional data. This is not master file data. So we actually have grip of the full data on a transactional level and bringing that through into this table. Okay, so the purpose is to say, well, that's my first account. Look here again, it's the first account on the actual this database. And also I want to now go and I want to update this, but this is a nice a table data environment where you can really have nice calculations. It's quick to do, and also you can actually have a cycle environment. A cycle environment meaning that you don't have to now go and do it once a year. You can actually do it now for some accounts or all accounts, and then later come back to it, which will then ultimately, once you've brought it into your PASTEL, it will actually now start populating over here on the left and say, well, now you've done it. This is what you've captured currently. What do you want to update it to? And you can re-update it over here and then push it back into PASTEL. Re-update and push it back into PASTEL. That's the great thing about this environment, which means it is a real cycle kind of concept. Okay, so I'm going to show you quickly just on these first 10 accounts. I'm going to just go up to, well, let's just make it up to account number 2000. It's 13 accounts. And now I'm going to open it. This is just, by the way, I'm going to do the current year budget. So I'm just going to go from August, which is now the months that haven't yet happened, and I'm going to do something that I'm going to call up some data formulas here. I'm going to say, well, I want to call up my actuals for my prior year from the 6th period, because it's still going to happen, and I just want to increase that by, let's say, 10%. Okay, so now it will auto-populate all fields because it's a data table. That's the way it works. But I want to say, no, well, I don't want that. I just want that up to 2000 there. Okay, so all this at the bottom I don't want. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to take this all through. I'm just going to highlight everything there, and I'm just going to drag it across, and it's actually going to drag across everything for me up to that point. And you'll see actually now we've now taken the actual of the prior year, and we've just gone and populated. And if you want to test it quickly, just by the way, you can go here to the left, and you can see here's the actuals for the prior year. And for instance, let's just take that top line, 11,005 in the 12th period of February 2020. And you can see that was 11,504, and now it's 12,605, which means that's the 10% increase on the 11,504. Okay, cool. Now we've done it. That's it. That's simplistic as that for this example. And now I say, well, this is the current year budget. What I want to create now is an import file for this year. Okay, because it's the current year, right? Yes, created. It's going to say I've converted to values, and now it's created a file called this year's budget for me. Okay, now I'm going to get back into my PASTEL. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go into my import export environment, which sits here under file, export, and now you just need to read carefully always. Okay, it's at the bottom here. It's called import. Which one? This year's budget. There we go. And I'm going to hit F5, or you can do that little looking glass there to go and find it. And I'm actually here in the WOW environment. I'm going to go into the app called MyBudgets, and there, if I just filter by date, you'll see there it is at the top. And I'm going to say, okay, process. It's going to ask me, do you have headings? I do have headings. There are headings. Yes, those are the headings. Okay. And here we go. Voila. Now they say 218 successfully imported. Why? Well, if we go back to the app, actually, we'll see exactly why. There are 218 accounts, but I didn't. All of the rest are still zero. So it's imported zeros on the ones I didn't update. Only the first 10. Okay. So now it says process successfully. You don't have to press process. It's already done. Now check here. Budget. Just do me once again a print out. Yes. And which one? Obviously, well, we did this year, so we need to show this year. And here we go. It's in. Look at that. Look at that. So we've got it in. Okay, it's giving you some weird periods here. It's giving you underneath that you said it says March, April, so it goes up to February, and there's the 13th month, but it's kind of like populating at period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's where we started, 24, 5, 30. And if you go and open here, let's see if it's 24, 5, 30. 24, 5, 30. Okay, it's just gone and rounded it up because it's 0.98. And then the next one is 0, 0, 0, 0, and then 11,272 then. 11,272, and so it goes on. And then the total is 218 and 218. Okay, so that's now been such a quick process, and you're able to see now you can use Excel suddenly, the formulas within Excel, to basically create, based on real data, your own data from history, to go and actually calculate your real budgets and forecast numbers. And you can do this over and over again, because now tomorrow when your budgets are in, you can actually go and rerun this app, and it will automatically take all these numbers and it's going to populate it into the left field here. So you can now actually see what are my budgets and do I need to update them or not. Okay, and you can then go and you can say, oh, now I want to do some other accounts, and you actually will be able to do that, because it won't override what you've done already if you don't type anything in those fields. If you just leave it blank, it'll actually leave those that you've already captured and would not override them. Okay, so that's using your data to strategize. We've got tons more ways to actually do this in a cool way. It's part of the awesome things that we love doing is forecasting, as financial forecasts, and financial modeling. Sorry, and this is a great little environment that you can model your own business with. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did, and thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it, and have a good day. Cheers, guys.